Jorge Linares wins a 12-round unanimous decision victory over Anthony Crolla to become the new WBA lightweight world champion and add that to his WBC title, as well as capturing the Ring Magazine lightweight belt. I think that Linares was a deserved winner. I think the refereeing early on in the fight was a little dubious. I felt that the ref was far too harsh on some of Linares' body punches. At the end of the day, both guys had their waistbands on their boxing trunks pulled up fairly high above the belly button. And Paulie Malignaggi rightly pointed out in the commentary that if the shorts are pulled up above the belly button, that means that if you hit somebody on the belt line, it's actually a legal punch because the shorts are pulled above the belly button. Whereas the referee kept warning Linares. He never took any points, but he warned him several times. And that actually discouraged Linares from throwing body punches. Carl Froch and I think Malignaggi both kind of realized that in the commentary. They noticed that Linares was more cautious about going to the body after being warned. Crolla, after a expectedly slow start, because Linares is the far more athletically gifted of the two. So most people expected Linares to win the early rounds and Crolla to come on maybe in the mid to late rounds. And Crolla did start coming on in the mid rounds. He probably had his best rounds there and did his best work. But Linares managed to hurt Crolla. I think it was in the 6th or 7th round. He hurt him, backed him up to the ropes, unloaded combinations, and he kind of put Crolla back in his place a little bit. Crolla did continue to apply pressure in terms of walking Linares down, but he wasn't quite so liberal with the amount of punches he was throwing after he got hurt in that, I think it was 6th round. And down the stretch, I thought Linares produced by far the better work. The cleaner punching, better combinations, and just all around more class and more talent on display. And the final scores for the fight, I think one judge had it about 117, 111, which I think was closer to what I had it. The other judges had it, I think, by 1 round and 2 rounds to Linares. So there you have it. Linares wins. As I say, I think personally a couple of the scorecards were a bit close, but the right man won at the end of the day. And yeah, Linares is now a unified champion at lightweight. Now I do have to say that I've never really rated Linares that highly, and I found the whole hoopla surrounding him a bit nauseating, to be honest with you. And that's no disrespect to Linares, but this is a man who got stopped by Antonio DeMarco, who's been knocked out early by a couple of other guys, who's never really beaten anyone of any great note. I mean, you compare what Linares did against DeMarco. He was outboxing DeMarco until late, but then he just fell apart. And incidentally, this fight right here against Anthony Crolla is the first time Linares has ever been the distance, as incredible as that is. He normally, as the commentators said in the fight, either stops you or you stop him. Well, he's never fought anybody particularly great in his career. Just compare his performance against DeMarco, which he lost, to Adrian Broner's performance against DeMarco. I mean, Adrian Broner just literally walked through Antonio DeMarco. So, you know, I found it pretty nauseating the way they were saying Linares is one of the best fighters of this era and a great fighter and this, that, and the other. No, not really. I think that they were hyping him up to try and make Crolla's potential victory look better than it actually was. Don't get it twisted. If he beat Linares and got the belts and whatever, that's great. But don't hype it up to be bigger than it actually is. Comparing it to Hatton versus Costa Tszyu, Costa Tszyu was a far better fighter in terms of his resume and what have you than Linares ever was. So let's not get carried away with Linares. He's a freeweight world champion, but this is an era where you've got 4 titles per division. So there's never been an easier time to be a freeweight world champion than there is today. On top of that, you got more weight divisions today than there's ever been before. It's not like in the days of Sugar Ray Robinson where there was no light welterweight division and there was no light middleweight division and there was no super middleweight division. So if you were going to move up in weight, it was a massive leap and you were fighting guys that were enormous compared to what you're used to. Whereas today there's more weight divisions. When you move up a weight, it's not that a big a deal. And there's so many belts that anybody can, well, I don't want to say anybody, but it's certainly easier to pick up a belt from some champion or other here or there. And, you know, you can be a freeweight world champion without ever having faced the best guy in any of the divisions that you fought in. That's where we're at today. That's the reality of it. So not to disrespect Linares or Crolla, they put on a good show for the fans. It was a hard-fought, spirited contest, but I did have to say a few words about the way Linares was being hyped up and the way the magnitude of the fight was being, I thought, overhyped a little bit. You know, good fight, two good, solid, world-level fighters, but there are no greats here. It's nothing like that. Anyway, that's just my feelings on the fight, people. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Where will Anthony Crolla go from here? Will he try and have to, beg for a fight with Terry Flanagan now? Because Eddie Hearn has been talking about how Crolla is such a bigger name than Terry Flanagan. Well, Flanagan's still got a world title and Crolla don't. So maybe we'll see Crolla against Linares now. Linares has been to the UK a few times now and it's been fruitful visits for him. So maybe he'll fancy fighting Turbo, as he calls himself, Terry Flanagan. Let me know how you feel in the comment section below, people, about the performances of both men. If you disagree with anything I've said, that's cool. Be respectful and there's no issues. And who'd you like to see both these guys fight next? Drop it all in the comment section. It's your boy Hatman, I'm out.